Next up, we're going to talk about the second P, which is peace. And that refers to peace of mind. Again, most people are so nervous when it's time to deliver a public speech that their nerves actually end up being the reason that the speech doesn't work out that well. And it doesn't need to be that way. I think there's a few helpful tips that you can use right before you're going to go, and maybe some stuff that messes people up during the speech that will help kind of calm us down and deliver a confident speech. So how to achieve kind of mental peace before. I like to adhere to the 10-minute rule, which refers to 10 minutes before you're about to go on stage. Stop looking at your note card. Stop looking at your PowerPoint. People are always trying to kind of last-minute cram right before, like, oh, I got to look at that one slide. I'm not very good at that slide yet. What you're doing is just kind of winding yourself up and making you feel unprepared. So 10 minutes beforehand, there's no studying you're going to do that you're going to retain when you're on stage right at that point. So it's better to just close your PowerPoint, put your notes away, and just start relaxing. And I want you to remind yourself of a couple of things. Number one, everybody gets nervous when they're giving speeches. So everybody that's sitting around that's about to watch you, if they were on stage, they'd be nervous too. And when you watch somebody else do a public speech, are you sitting there critiquing their public speaking ability? No. And so they don't do that to you either. So just kind of reminding yourself that the audience is human as well. If you're there to serve the audience, one of my favorite quotes of all time is, "There's no need to be nervous when your mind is on service." So if you're there to provide a service, you're there to educate, or you're there to inspire, or whatever the function of your speech is, if you're trying to help the audience in some way, and you shift the focus off of you and what people are going to think of you, and you just start thinking more about, like, I'm just going to try to help these people, that can really relieve a lot of butterflies as well. And again, remember, you know more about this topic than any of them do. So if anybody in the room is qualified to get up there and talk about that topic, it's you. And again, everything you can kind of remind yourself of to shift the focus away from you and onto helping the audience, that's always going to be a good thing to remember. So a couple other pointers as far as once the speech starts, there's a few things that mess up people's kind of peace in the middle of it. So number one, I recommend that you focus on the top 20% of your audience. What I mean by that is you're always going to have 20% of your audience that's really with you, and they're smiling and they're nodding and they're laughing at your jokes. And then you're always going to have kind of the bottom 20% that are like arms crossed, checked out, yawning. Our natural human tendency is to direct our speech towards the people who are not with us because we want to get them with us. And that's a great way to kind of spread their negativity through the whole audience. So it's counterintuitive, but you really want to start delivering your speech towards the most optimistic, cool people, and just keep delivering it that way. Because remember, if 20% over here and 20% are over here, that leaves 60% in the middle, and those people could kind of go either way on your speech. So if you deliver your speech to the enthusiastic folks, their energy is going to spread, and the audience is going to love you. Next piece of advice during, this is something that really disrupts people's peace while they're giving speeches, is filler words. So really try to pay attention to when you're searching for your next word, or you're thinking about what the next slide is going to say. People have a tendency to use filler words. The most common one, of course, is So that totally weakens whatever it is that you're saying if you fill up your speech with ums. Or another one is kinda. People will say kinda all the time. A lot of people have their own filler words. People have their own tendency to do that. But I recommend even having somebody in the back. If you get to speak a lot, it's a valuable exercise to have somebody in the back that just counts how many times you do ums. I've watched great public speakers, and I just sat there and counted for them. And in 15 minutes, they said 45 times, and they were shocked. So if you can avoid filler words, you're going to sound more confident. You're going to be more confident. Another one that I dislike is when people first start, they'll tend to discredit their speech right away, and there's no reason for it. I think it comes from a place of trying to be humble, but it's common where people will stand up on stage and be like, "Oh, I'm really nervous, but let me get started," or "Oh, I just slapped this thing together last night. I don't know. We'll see how it goes." Or, why? You don't need to mention that, even if it's true, even if you are nervous, or even if you did it a little last minute. The audience doesn't need to know that. And basically what you just told them was, this isn't going to be a good speech. So just cut that all together. There's no reason for that. And last thing is, if you freeze on stage, you just totally blank out, like, what am I supposed to say? I can't think. Your heart rate's gonna go right through the roof. You're gonna start thinking a million miles an hour. Easiest thing to do, just start laughing. That's the easiest thing you can do. Just start laughing. And it's gonna lead into like, oh man, God, what was I thinking about? Where was I? And that type of a natural reaction is very human. People make mistakes. If they were up on stage, they would make mistakes. But it gets kind of awkward when you freeze and you're like, oh no, 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 no. People start feeling sorry for you. So if you ever freeze, just start laughing and you'll think of something to say, and whatever you're supposed to say next will come back to you. So those are some advice on how to maintain peace while you're giving a public speech.